Welcome, everybody. This is Swish for Real. Shout out to our producer, Big Mike, as I call him, Coach Mike. Thank you. Thank you. Props. Uh, Tonight, we got a special guest and a great show for you. So say hello to my friend, Wild Dog.
Hey, what's up, people? What's up, Boogie? Hey, thank you for having me on, brother.
So,
And taking
how's
the
your week
challenge
been?
and going one-on-one with me.
Yeah, shots fired. It, we're going to change it up just a little bit tonight, but how was your week?
Oh, man, it's a good week. You know what I'm saying? So, the NBA is just on fire right now. Just two exciting finals games, plus with the Mavs win. So, I'm so excited. I'm on cloud nine right now. For now. You know what I'm saying? The finals is brutal and up and down, but right now I'm on cloud nine. Two great games, and including a Mavs win, away. So, I couldn't ask for more right now.
Yeah, Dallas Metroplex has got it going on every night this week. Either the Mavericks or the Stars are playing for 2 weeks, so
Yes,
there's going to be
yes,
a lot of pins and needles.
yes,
So
yes.
we're going to jump right into the show tonight, and I hope everybody kind of appreciates a little bit different format. This first topic, we're going to fly solo a couple on all these, and first up tonight, give us your take on Bandwagon Fans.
Okay, so I spent time with the Mavericks and a lot of sports teams, and I really have grown an affection for, I guess, what you call newcomers, right? People who might be not even just new to your team, but new to the sport and what that kind of looks like. And a lot of time us old heads are like, really? You haven't been down with basketball? You haven't been down with my sport, or you haven't been down with my team, But as you know, especially when a team is in the finals, like in the Dallas area, we have the Mavericks in the Western Conference Finals, and we have the Stars in the Western Conference Finals. And you'll notice people who are rocking with LeBron and the Lakers last week, but they live in North Texas, and now they're rocking Mavericks gear. You know what I'm saying? And then you have people who are like, wait a minute, aren't you from Minnesota? But, the Stars are in the finals, so they're rocking supporting the Stars. And it's like, wait a minute, what's with these bandwagoners, dude? What's going on? But from my take and all my years, number one and first and foremost, I always take it as a new opportunity to meet new people and potentially make new friends, right? And then even to network, what could be potentially new business opportunities for myself, or more often than not, connecting a person new to the sport or new to the team with someone who does business in their industry. It just cross on different levels. And then to being an old head, me, I'll go back to black and white, basketball especially. I can help educate you. If you're new to the sport, I got you covered. If you're new to the team, hey, we're gonna take your first baby steps. Mavs fan for life, MFFL. So that takes you back to knowing you got to know some certain things. You got to know some certain history. If you're like, well, what do you mean? The team's the team. I like Luka. Oh, that's not going to get it, partner. That's not going to get it. You got to know before Luka came Dirk Nowitzki. And then before Dirk Nowitzki, you got to know came Orlando Blackman. You ain't got to be some mad scientist when it comes to basketball or to the team, but there's some certain fundamentals that comes along with an education as a bandwagoner, to slide by, to get along, and then us old heads, or to get along with us old heads, and it's smooth and easy, And then over time, you'll learn things like, where is Dirk Nowitzki from? Well, he's from Würzburg, Germany, and blah, 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 Then over time, as you're networking and you get to know each other, bandwagoners have to have an open mind, regardless of your age, regardless of where you come from, to kind of reciprocate, receive some things, and have an exchange, people that have been with their team for so long, kind of give them, not so much a bit of respect, but kind of a bit of a leadway or a courtesy, for sharing the love of their team or sharing the love of their sport. And then also, it's good for business. You know what I'm saying? Someone, you go into your closet, Boogie, it's stuff, right? You know what I'm saying? you go into my closet. I mean, dude, how much stuff we donate because we have to. I need that fresh gear, and our stuff's our closets are full. But someone who's new to the sport or new to the team, they got nothing. You know what I'm saying? So they're at Academy, they're at Dick's, or they're on MavsGear.com or whatever team website to buy merch and loading up, because especially when it comes to playoff times, especially when it's finals time, where it's conference finals times or the NBA finals, really it's a costume party, right, Boogie? It's not just a regular game, And so it's important to look the part, to flow and go with it and support the local team and not one of the negative things that comes about with bandwagoners is that you come to the finals game in street clothes. You know what I'm saying? This is a party. You didn't come to party. This is a costume party. You in street clothes. We're dressed in all white. This is an all white playoff game, and you're in street clothes. You wearing black or the other team's colors. Really? And then another thing, like I'm experiencing now, I know the Mavs have been super hot, but I was in the queue to get my tickets, and I'm like, I've been around so long. Please let me get my turn to buy a ticket. And they sold out on me, Boogie. They sold out on me, Boogie. And I know when I watch the game, I know when I see it, I'm going to see folks in street clothes, and I'm going to feel some way about it. So mostly I'm positive and welcome to bandwagoners. But on the other hand, I am with you on some points where it can rub me the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? So if you're going to join a party, it's a costume party, get with it. You know what I'm saying? And give us a courtesy to share the sport and to share our team history with
you. That's a good take. I remember Troy Aikman. Most kids nowadays only know him as an announcer, but he did play football, and you and I are old enough to remember that. But when he gave a reporter, he said Dallas wasn't a sports town; it was a winner's town. When you win, they show up. When you don't win, they don't show up. And I mean, the Cowboys are notorious for having bandwagoners. They start winning 3 or 4 games in a row, everybody jumps on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
They lose 2 or 3, and they jump off. They lose a playoff game, the world is falling apart. They win, oh man, they're the greatest thing since. So Dallas has a history with several of their teams, and the Cowboys being the leading ones. They've experienced a lot of bandwagoners, but I agree with you, Mavs fans. It's nice to welcome the new party, the new blood in.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And we'll get you brainwashed to let you know that the Mavs are the best thing going. Okay. Well, speaking of best thing going, I'm going to talk about iconic jersey numbers in basketball.
Yes,
and I
sir.
know you'll have some comments after this, but the first number that came to mind was the number 6. And you and I, you know why. Bill Russell.
Yeah, we've spoken about this. Yeah, we've spoken about
Dr. J.
Yeah.
And, Porzingis can't wear it. Nobody in the NBA can wear it anymore. After Bill Russell passed away, nobody's allowed to wear number 6. So as far as an iconic, number 6 has to be at the top of the list.
Yes, sir.
I'm happy to be going in the ones that first came to mind. They also, as I looked at my list later on, they happen to be in numerical order. The next number, 23. You don't even have to, if you know your history, that was Michael Jordan. Everybody wanted to wear number 23. 23 was Michael Jordan's domain. LeBron wanted to wear it, so he wore it.
Yes.
Then you've got 2 numbers for one player. Both of these numbers were retired for this guy. He's no longer with us,
yes,
but he was, in my mind, he was the closest we've had to Michael Jordan. I think of LeBron, I think more of Magic, but Kobe Bryant,
yes,
number 24 and number 8, iconic numbers. Then you get to modern. modern day
But
number,
24 was Jordan +1. That's why he did that.
Jordan +1. And
Yeah,
Jordan called him a lot. They were
yeah.
friends. They talked a
So,
lot. He picked his
so,
brain.
so the 24 actually still goes back to 23.
Yeah. And so and the next number, I don't care, even coaching Little League, Rec League, everybody's got number 30, Stephen Curry. Everybody wants to shoot a 3-pointer. Nobody wants to take a layup. So that there's no other player in the NBA right now that's really on that level, but every kid's got a number 30 Stephen Curry jersey. So it's not the tradition of number 6 or number 23, but it's going to grow in stature. This next one, a lot of players wore this in college that were well known, but this guy, as a rookie playing center, won an NBA championship and an MVP. I'm talking about the one and only Magic Johnson, number 32.
Magic
Another
Johnson.
iconic number.
Yes,
Now, this next number, several players wore it. The first guy that came to mind was because they played in college when I was in college. Patrick Ewing wore it. Larry Bird wore it. And Kareem Abdul-Jabbar wore it.
Right.
The number 33.
33. Right.
Then, little bit of dream shake. We got number 34 with Hakeem Olajuwon. That was a pretty iconic jersey number.
Yeah, that's crazy how it's consecutive like that with those icons. Yeah.
And then the last but not least, talking about black and white, old school VHS tape. We didn't even have VHS tape. You just hit that TV, like trying to get the signal. You hit, change the antenna, and all right. But you know the little logo you got on your shirt there, right above the Mavericks.
Yeah. Oh,
Jerry West, and George Gervin wore 44.
44. Right.
44.
Nice.
So that's my list of iconic jersey numbers when it comes to basketball. Do you have any thoughts on iconic numbers?
I mean, when I first thought about it, I almost thought like, almost just the numbers 2 and 3, in any combination, you know what I mean? Because of course, like you got 23 with Jordan, you got 32, with Magic, right? And then, of course, coming up a Philadelphia 76ers fan, you got number 3 for me is iconic with Allen Iverson, and then, lists of players like even, I believe, like Jamal Crawford, if I'm thinking of the right player now, if I'm thinking Jamal Crawford, like players he influenced that wore number 3 because of AI, he was an icon, as well. So,
Kidd has wore number 2, and Kyrie Irving has wore number 2 because of Kidd.
Yeah. So even just the numbers 2 and 3 independently or together in combination, that covers a great wealth of iconic players wearing those numbers in certain combinations. And then to kind of double down with you, I had to point it out with Porzingis going to Boston, hoping he'll have a shift, even before his passes that, is that, hey, with Bill here or not, you can't wear number 6, dude. You can't wear your number. It's like it's a wake-up call with Porzingis going to Boston. And so the jersey numbers inadvertently have brought themselves up, in our conversations this year with Porzingis, KP going to Boston. And it's serious business. And it's a certain degree of reverence you have to have for such great legendary players on and off the field. I mean, on and off the court, So Bill Russell with his, in the time and the era with the civil rights movement, was quite vocal and present, So and not just on the court, but off the court as well. And that number 6 being iconic, people not realizing that he was a player coach, and winning that was the 8th championship in Boston, and being the first African American coach to win an NBA championship. So I'd like to double, triple down on number 6 being first on your list.
Yeah, and if you noticed, I did not mention any Maverick numbers. But when you think of Maverick iconic number, there's 4 in the rafters.
Well, I know, right out there, I know the names. You got Rolando Blackman, you got Brad Davis, and you got Derek Harper, and of course you got Swish 41, Dirk Nowitzki.
Yeah, and I'm not sure there's when you look at jersey sales and kids wanting to wear the numbers, other players wanting to wear their numbers. He was. I mean, there were Europeans that played before him: Drazen Petrovic, Sabonis' dad, Vlade Divac, and all.
Yeah.
Do you think Luka's number 77 will become an icon that people want to wear?
I believe that it's inevitable. And then culturally speaking, 7 is considered a lucky number or a favorable number or even a spiritual number. So I think it's attractive on multiple levels. And I would like to think that's why he wears 77, because there's power in it for him, and it has meaning for him, and that meaning and power and his the coming of a legend will make it the influence is going to be there, and it will make it a number that players will possibly even negotiate over at some point.
So he wanted number 7, but Dwight Powell already had number 7, and in Luka's shoes, so that's why he ended up with 77. But there's an upside down 7 and a regular 7, and it makes an LD. I don't know if anybody's ever noticed that, but 77 is in his shoe design. And Dirk had number 14. You know why he had number 14 when he's in Europe? Charles Barkley.
Okay, yeah. I know they go way back.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
now it makes sense.
When he got to Dallas, I don't know who had 14, but he changed that around to 41.
But still, that works because again, the numbers are there. You know what I mean? The meaning behind it and the numbers are there. Yeah.
So you're a pretty avid fan. You were at the Caitlin Clark preseason opening. Tell me about watch parties and what you think about watch parties.
The thing is, especially first off, people got families, people are on a budget, and people are always dismissive about, I could, think I could never get to a game or a game atmosphere is too much. And then a lot of times you're at home, even if you have a home theater, you're not quite getting the atmosphere unless you have some huge family, like with 12 family members or something, and you have all your neighbors over. You can create, your own niche atmosphere, and I've seen that done. But there's nothing quite like going to a watch party, where again it's a costume party. It's the second place to a game time experience, where the energy, the vibe, the camaraderie, the ability to network, even as far as just, I go to watch parties, people just come for the goodies, Boogey Bob. You know what I'm saying? They come for the goodie bag, they come for the door prizes, and then if you stay, then there's giveaways, there's trivia, there's you say, I can't ever get to a game, I can't afford a game. Well, you better get your butt to a watch party, because they also give away tickets to the games at watch parties. You feel me? So, if you're complaining about getting to a game, the best way to get to a game is to go to a watch party, network with some season ticket holders or people like that, maybe meet a ticket rep, and maybe, mess around and get your raffle number called or your giveaway number called, for game tickets, or the next best thing, maybe a jersey, sometimes even an autographed jersey. The atmosphere is crazy. And you'll oftentimes have dancers there, even mascot or two. Well, especially with the Mavericks, we have two mascots, if folks didn't know. You know what I'm saying? We have Champ and we have Mavs Band. So one or the other or both could be there. So literally the game time experience, is being brought to you, so you can kind of get a, inside view and kind of a good taste of what it's like to actually be at a game. And you might mess around and actually meet someone to help you get to a game more affordably, or even just straight out win tickets, So it's a wonderful, great experience.
So how many beads did you throw out when you were a maniac at watch parties?
Oh, brother, cases. I mean, over my years, I bought cases, like huge case, like thousands of beads. And I would hand them out to my maniac teammates, give them the dancers. It's like both arms would be covered in beads, and then you're just giving them out and throwing them out. It could be hundreds of beads at every given time, We would even
how crazy did the fans go for the beads?
Crazy nuts, because we would even do crafts with them. We would do crafts of handing out to kids, do stars. Some of us that were believers, we learned how to make small crosses, from the beads, doing different crafts and things. We could even make bracelets out of them, like little charm bracelets, doing different shapes around it. We even, with the Maniacs, we called it Maniac Crafts 101 with the beads. So the beads, so a few cents a piece would go such a long way. A lot of times, even further than a t-shirt, because if you don't get your size, you either got to grow into it or give it away, But with a bead was literally one size fits all, And a lot of times we end up selling with silver, because silver's part of the Mavericks, color scheme, and then it's a neutral color. So a lot of times you'll see folks, if they didn't, weren't able to make it home from work to get to the game, they will still have their beads on the mirror, grab their beads, put them on and come to the game or come to the watch party. But again, it's a costume party. Whether you come into the game or come into the, playoff watch party, it's a costume party. And I loved it. And you can see the different layers and even different colors, even different styles they would have, where they collected them over the years, and it's just a wonderful experience. So no worries if you can't get to the game. The next best thing is a watch party, and you might mess around and find yourself with game tickets to actually have a game time experience.
And tomorrow night there is a watch party at the old Reunion Arena. That's a park now, and they're going to have a drone show.
What?
Yeah,
oh.
Drone show, and they're going to be giving away tickets. I kind of have we all have unique experiences, and you and I, we've had shared experiences.
Yes, sir.
When Mark Cuban first discovered me, and before I even had a name, thanks to you, he knew who I was.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And then, as Boogey Bob, I'd wear my shirt to a watch party, and that was 2005 and 2006. We made the finals in 2006.
See, Boogie, you had to be in costume, right?
And in 2005, it was held at Dave & Buster's, and they were one of the sponsors. But Christina McLarty and a couple of the local TV shows, they would be there, and next thing you know, not just the Maniacs or the dancers or the mascots, they would be interviewing fans.
Yes.
So, it was never my intention to get on TV, but you're there, they're going to interview. So that was kind of my experience with watch parties. The most memorable one, because in 2006, I went to Miami and watched the finals live, Game 4 and Game 5.
I was almost there.
Game 3, it was in AAC watching it on the big screen.
Right.
But the one that I remember was 2011, packed arena, people waiting outside the arena, watching on the screen outside it when the Mavs won Game 6. They had a big gold banner across it, NBA champions.
Yeah.
That crowd was crazy. And unlike a regular game, which it takes a while to spill out during the playoffs, in a watch party, everybody hangs out. They're like, when does T-shirts go on sale? Which academy's open? And I mean, it is just one big party, big time party afterwards. After the game's long gone, it's still an hour or two later, and you're still meeting people, or they're coming up and say, "Hey, can I get a picture with you?" And I mean, it's nuts.
Yes,
So.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, if you're on low budget, that is definitely the way to go.
Yeah, because even in 2011, like with the Mavs Maniacs, we were entertaining, especially the watch parties. A lot of times, the Mavs Maniacs, you can have Big Rob as the host. You know, you can have a Maniac as hosting the party, basically. You know, and then performing as well. So, but like in 2011, you know, the game was away and we're winning away. The Heat had beat us on our court, then we returned the favor, 5 years later, beating them on their court. And so at the watch party, it was nuts. And there was no rush to get anybody out of the arena, but it was almost like folks fell out of the arena. And then the after party was at the South Plaza. Back then it was the AT&T Plaza, and that was crazy. Because it was like we were used to tailgating. I'm just like, well, something's going on. So then we left the parking lot tailgating, went to the South Plaza, AT&T Plaza, and it was like, well, dang, folks are here. Folks aren't going anywhere, And like you said, there was WFAA 8, Channel 8 had already moved and settled in right there at the end at the plaza, and they had the cameras rolling, and folks were just celebrating and partying and just sharing and crying and hugging and just cheering and chanting and music going and dancing, But then how the city of Dallas is prepared, we had the mounted state troopers, deputy sheriffs mounted on horses, So at a certain point, when it seemed like the energy was falling off, everybody got gently, but with the great presence of mounted, policemen, we're in Texas, gently walked down, and that was the end of the party, So
when a horse, I'm 6 foot tall, and when a horse comes up next to you, and the boots of the policeman on top of it is above your head, you're going to move.
You're going to
move.
mean,
those horses are 1,000 pounds, I would guess, but I mean, they're not donkeys. Those were big horses. I'm like, I'm looking up. I'm like, okay, I'm moving. I don't want no part of you nor this horse.
Yeah. So I mean, and so like we know how to do it. We partied, then we had the after party, then we had the after party. Then at some point it's like, all right, folks, let's be safe. Let's take it home, and then tomorrow
we went to Uptown.
Tomorrow's another day. But then
Jim Wickman was my sales manager, and Don Turner was there, and the PR people, and Kyle. You might remember Kyle. We just hit every bar up and down. Some of us weren't even drinking, but we went up and down. One would close, we go to the next bar, and that would close, we go. We just kept going up and down. Next thing you know, it's 6 a.m.
I'm about to say I was up all night, Boogie. I didn't sleep. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't either. I went to IHOP, got me breakfast, and then hung out at the airfield until the plane landed.
I left Lot E of the American Airlines Center and ended up going straight to a radio appearance, I believe, and then on to work. And then, of course, we did the championship parade on a Friday, and then we had parade, Mass Parade Championship Friday, and then we had championship weekend on Saturday, celebrating all the regional champions, including the Mavericks, and even the Cowboys rigged, the Cowboys bus, even came out. So we know how to party. We party championship night, but we were civilized enough, to shut it down and then extend the party on with the weekend parade and then a championship Saturday. So, we know how to do it. We know how to do our watch parties. We know how to do our after parties, and we have the means in the area and for that to happen, And And even though a lot of times things shut down at 2 or 3 o'clock in Dallas, we're in the Bible Belt, we still know how to party and get down. And even meeting the Mavericks, returning from Miami, on the plane. So it was ongoing every day, it was an ongoing party nonstop all the way through, essentially even Sunday, but definitely clearly all the way through Saturday. We just partied, from one place in one way or another to the next. So
without any violence.
Watch
no
parties.
No shooting, and no violence.
Watch parties are a fun, safe, and lucrative way you can really come out to gangbusters, with tickets or whatnot, giveaways, goodies, and meeting folks and having, once in a lifetime experiences because it's finals time. It's finals time. So there's no better way than to experience the finals, especially when your team is away, than by having a watch party. And if you can't make it, like Boogie said, you can't make it inside the building, there's plenty of places and ways for you to big screens. Now it's 2024, high definition big screens outside for you to have the full atmosphere right at the stadium, or in parks and places of that nature. They're going to be provided for you. So please, please, please don't just stay home. It's finals time. Come out for the watch parties. Come out to the stadiums. Come out to the arenas. Come out to the parks and enjoy yourselves and have a good family-friendly time.
And if you miss the watch party, you can always join us here at Swish for Real, and we got you covered, okay? Between Wild Dogg and me, we got the Eastern Conference and Western Conference Finals. So, subscribe to Swish for Real. We got you covered if you miss watch party. But those Maverick, that 2011 team, and 06 team, they wouldn't have made it had they not made some good draft picks. So moving on to the next topic, I have a list of players the Mavericks could have drafted instead of Dennis Smith Jr. So they had the 9th pick. I have a feeling, it wasn't said, I have a feeling they already knew about Luka. And I was sitting there the year Dennis Smith Jr. I am not making this up. The year they drafted Dennis Smith Jr., they played Atlanta, the very first game of the year. It was 111 to 111 with 1 minute and 11 seconds to go. And they put the smallest guys on the free throw line and couldn't get the rebound and wound up losing the game. And I turned to my friend that I split season tickets with, and I said, they're already tanking. And as the year went on, they're like, no, you got to be kidding me. I was like, no, they got somebody in mind they're tanking. But here's a list of players. We loved Dennis Smith Jr. We hoped he could be Russell Westbrook. As it turns out, the way Russell Westbrook played this year, he kind of did turn into Russell Westbrook. But just the bad end of Russell Westbrook, the non-athletic Russell Westbrook that still can't shoot. But here's some of the players, and I'm going to give you where they were drafted. And the first one on the list, these are in order where they were picked, but the first one on the order,
I'm ready.
And for those of you watching, get a pen and paper down because you'll want to know some of these names.
I'm ready.
But I was at a draft party, so we were just talking about watch parties. I had a draft party, and I was screaming at the top of my lungs. And Jacques, who used to be on the radio.
Yes,
Can't remember his last name.
Yes.
I'm like, Malik Monk, take Malik Monk. Well, he played on Kentucky. He was a shooter. We needed shooters.
Yeah.
He was taken at number 11. Now, bear in mind, Dennis Smith Jr. was taken at 9. Laurie Markkinen was taken at 7. De'Aaron Fox was taken in the top 5. So you had some players taken. But at number 9, they passed on Malik Monk at 11. A guy that we faced 2 years ago on the way to Western Conference Finals. He's now going to get a big contract with Cleveland after they fired their coach. Donovan Mitchell was taken at 13.
Yeah, my guy.
At number 14, Bam Adebayo. At 22, Jarrett Allen. At number 23, who was just traded and played in the semifinals with the New York Knicks, OG Anunoby. At 27, a guy we tried to trade for was a Laker, now with the Wizards, Kyle Kuzma at 27. A guy that you mentioned in one of our previous podcasts needed to show up for the Celtics for them to get to the finals. Derek White was taken at 29.
My guy, Derek White.
Villanova in 2018 with Jalen Brunson. He was taken the next year, but Josh Hart, his running mate, was taken 30th the year Dennis Smith Jr. was drafted. Isaiah Hartenstein, a center that's bounced around but now coming into his own. He was taken at 43. In Memphis at 45, scraped up the latest Pat Beverly or Larry Hughes, Wet Willie in the year with LeBron type. Crazy man Dylan Brooks was taken at 45. So you got more than a dozen players in one draft. I mean, some drafts, might produce 5, 6 starters, but every one of those would have fit in, and that was with Dirk. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 11 players the Mavs passed on for Dennis Smith Jr.
I'm from Kentucky. I'm a Louisville Cardinals fan, so I wanted my man Mitchell to come to Dallas. So,
yeah. So that just goes to show you, even if you have good personnel, you have a good culture, you can miss in a draft, and you can miss big in a draft. So as bad as that draft sounds, you and me went to the draft party last year.
Oh, gosh.
And we had heard that there was a trade before the pick was announced, and we're like, oh, please get Derek Lively. Please get Derek Lively. We all know the Thunder didn't draft him. They wanted Cason Wallace, who's a local boy. So that trade was already made before it was announced. It's kind of like saying the Bucks drafted Dirk Nowitzki. No, they didn't. They had already traded for the 6th pick.
Yeah.
But just the NBA, in my opinion, the NBA's messed up. But that's one pick that in a deep draft that went completely awry. And any one of those players with the current team or even the team back then would have helped them.
Yes, sir.
So, speaking of drafts, this is a all skate, which means we both get to have input. And it's the best point guard draft. And I'm gonna list my favorite, and then I want you to kind of come back with your, as far as what draft had the best class of point guards.
Now, folks, we're going into this blind. I have no idea what year Boogie picked. Right?
You have no idea who I picked. That's correct.
We've known each other for a very long time, and we've been friends for a long time, and we've been really, really close recently. But we, as close as we are, like brothers from another mother, we are different. like any other siblings, we are very much different. And then
I did leave some meat on the table for you because you can go old school, okay?
And then I am Wild Dogg for a reason. So sometimes I just put a twist on things just because I can. So, yeah.
Well, here's the Boogey Bob draft pick. Best point guards, the whole class. Like we just had the NFL draft, and what was it, like 6 quarterbacks got taken in the top 12 picks, and they talk about the 84 draft pick for quarterbacks. So
run with it, baby. Run with it.
So 2018, let me give you a short list of the point guards. Luka! And the guy we just knocked out of the playoffs, who was number 2 in the MVP race, and we all know he's sitting at home while Luka's still playing, but SGA was in that draft.
Hey, but respect SGA. Yes.
That's respect. He's got game. That boy's got game.
He got game.
And the guy who, according to the NBA rules, was drafted by and then traded later for Trae Young, was also in that draft.
Mm-hmm.
We all know about Jalen Brunson. Catch the short. It'll be posted up here in a few days. I made a special short on Jalen Brunson and the
Okay.
New York Knicks. Just check Swish for Real out. Subscribe. Yep. Jalen Brunson was taken in the second round, the 33 picks into the second round. And then this last guy, you could call him a point guard. You could call him a shooting guard or a combo guard.
Combo.
But Colin Sexton was meant to be the point guard till they got Darius Garland.
Yes,
so you got SGA, Luka, Trae, Brunson. 3 of those guys were in the top 5 for the MVP this year.
Yeah.
I didn't do – after that, I didn't do any research as far as other years. But the 2018 draft for point guards, to me, hard to beat. So I'll turn it over to you, the Wild Dog.
Yes, sir. So, on this, I didn't go all black and white on you. So I didn't go that far back. And then since I was like, well, since I'm not going to go that far back and be so technical about it, I just relaxed. I thought, well, who's my favorite, And then recently we've actually talked about one of my favorites. And I was like, well, let me go back to his draft year and see what we've got, So we've done a segment on Starberry. Stephon Marbury is one of my personal favorite point guards of all time, right? And his draft class is 1996. So you go 1996, you've got Hall of Famer Steve Nash, 2-time MVP, right? And then you've got someone who I consider to be one of the last true point guards, not a combo guard, but I am old school. 5-time NBA champion Derek Fisher, right? So very good company already, by taking this twist on the question, twist on the topic, and letting it take me where it's going to take me. And then, of course, my goodness, then I felt kind of bad about myself, Boogie. You know what I'm saying? Because I like Stephon Marbury so much, his career, then after his career, and everything he's done for the global expansion of basketball, especially in China. He's a legend in New York. He's a legend in China. And I wore his shoes. I danced in his shoes. And then there it is. AI, Allen Iverson, class of 1996, finals appearance, MVP, icon, number 3. This is my favorite by far point guard draft class, 1996. And I'm sticking with it. You can't combat the heart. You know what I'm saying? You can't mess with this. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? There's no rebuttal. There's no pushback on that. You know what I'm saying? Hey, so that's how I come at it.
Well, that 96, that's a very good list. That's an awesome list. So, I thought of Gary Payton. That was the only one I kind of looked at. There weren't that many point guards. That's a lot of accolades. I mean, Derek Fisher was lucky to be on some teams with good talent. He was a good, smart guard. He's kind of like Robert Horry in that way. Sam Cassell won some championships. He was a pretty good point guard too. Not sure when he drafted. But I think that,
Marbury was asked to score so many points. He was asked to carry, you know what I'm saying? Especially when he was with the Knicks, he had to carry things, you know what I mean? But given the opportunity, he would have been really classically a true point guard,
And if Atlanta trades Trae Young to San Antonio with all their extra draft picks to pair with Wemby, Tony Parker was a pretty darn good point guard. But I think you give the 2018 class the length of time to play that the 96 class played, they might stack up.
Yeah.
If Luka wins 5 championships and a double back-to-back MVP for the Mavs, I think I'll be biased.
Yeah.
But
And then if Pop picks up, Ice Tray, then I'm good with it because they're really serious about you being a fit. And that's the one thing about organizations. A lot of times folks will be like, well, they had to get them. And I'm just like, they're not a fit, dude. It's not going to work. And if it works, it's not going to work all that well. We're better off going some other direction. What do you mean? It's a superstar. Well, okay. And I don't know how many times you go into free agency or pick up someone or whatever, and I'm like, well, this has got to be trade bait. And often, okay, I'm glad it was trade bait. They picked them up just to package them up to make a move. But at this point in Wemby's career, I don't think they're gonna play games around it. You know what I'm saying? They've got the foundation. They're building up.
The Spurs have got 2 picks this year, and back then when they had Duncan and Robinson and Ginobili and Parker, they were picking very late in the draft. They took Derek White at 29.
Yeah.
They drafted and traded Boris Diaw, and
yes.
there were they passed on Josh Howard, but they took another point guard. So Popovich and that organization, even late in the draft, they picked up some really good players.
That's what I'm saying. So I wouldn't be surprised if they say, maybe the contracts and the age of chemistry with Ice Tray may or may not work. But then, like you're saying, I wouldn't be surprised if they hit a home run, picking up a point guard out of the draft. And that age and the overlay of the contracts would almost be more beneficial moving forward. But we'll see what happens,
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't mind them picking up Ice Tray just to package him to even try to move up. All kind of crazy things happen, you know what I'm saying? And Swish for Real is here to kind of break it down for you, when you're scratching your head like, why did they do that,
Yeah, well, the Mavs have a draft pick this year. It's in the second round. It's at the end of the second round. So if I know you and Big Mike talked about Bronny and like where will he go? So if the Lakers got 2 picks right in front of the Mavericks, and you'll love this, I saw a mock draft yesterday. It had the Celtics taking Bronny at 53.
Really?
But the Lakers have 2 shots at Bronny. If they pass on him, don't be surprised if the Mavericks don't take Bronny.
Yeah, I think these mock drafts and some of the algorithm and even the AI generated stuff, it's all tied to human beings. And human beings can make mistakes or even have it set up where it's using outdated data, because what I'm seeing and then what I've been and the reports I'm getting about Bronny James at the combine, I mean, yeah, he's someone that doesn't necessarily have to show up at the combine, but he showed up at the combine and he's showing out. So if anything, I feel his stock is on the upswing.
It's going to be up. I mean, Tyrese Maxey had 1 year at Kentucky. He didn't do too well at Kentucky, but I saw him in high school, and the Mavs passed on him to take Josh Green. But Tyrese Maxey, you could see it in high school. He didn't have a great year at Kentucky, but it's Kentucky. You're not going to get a lot of playing time.
Yeah.
And now you see he's already turned the corner. You've seen what he's done.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But me, Boogie, I love undrafted players, and I love Jalen Brunson so much because he was second round, right? So I'm like, what I'm saying? You get a superstar out of the second round. I'm just loving that. You know what I mean? So
we all love Kesey. For those that don't know, that's Marquise Daniels.
Yes, sir.
And I got an autographed picture of him in a frame. Well, Wild Dog, it's been a pleasure having you. Where can folks find you on social media?
Hey, I'm chill, man. I love doing my speech therapy on YouTube. So you can find me doing commentary, live color analyst on YouTube at Wild Dog 357. Again, that's Wild DOWG 357. Blessings to you. Appreciate you.
So I don't have much footprint on social media. I have Facebook page, but Swish for Real is my domain, is where I'm at, and that's owned by Big Mike, and he always has us on. So shout out to Coach Big Mike and letting us have a show tonight. And be sure, if you like this show, Swish for Real, click down below. There's a way to subscribe. So Swish for Real, we're out.
That's it, Prank.